or would like to sign up for trade ideas.
Bought out already. Come on.
I thought so, but well, that's
Yeah.
not what we're in the business here doing. So.
We're not in the, we love doing what we do. I'm trying to get my son to take over after he gets rid of Brad's son, who's older. I don't know, Brad. We'll see what Jake does. But at any rate, we're here for the long haul, and we want to thank you for supporting us. And one of the ways that we want to say thank you for supporting us is by telling you, please, for heaven's sakes, do not subscribe to Trade Ideas if you were concerned with $7.50 a day. By the way, I'm going to do something real quick here. Bear with me for 1 second. But this is worth it.
I'm scared.
You should be. So Brad, can you see my screen here?
Yep, I can.
All right. I'm going to go to our FAQ. I want everybody to read this FAQ. Okay, I'll read it for you. So this is a question that we get often, and it's worth the read for the literary and the comedy, but I'm going to read it for you. Hello. I'm looking for a filter or alert that will show me a stock before it starts to run, and then notifies me when the run is on and when it will end. Do you have something like that? Believe it or not, everyone, this is the most commonly asked question. Okay. The short answer is, if we did, we wouldn't sell it to you. But let's be honest, nobody would sell that product to anyone. It would, by definition, be the most valuable tool on Wall Street, and we'd be rich as thanks to our amazing tool that can accurately predict the future, most likely a DeLorean that goes 88 miles an hour. While you're out there hunting for the magic money-making machine, you'll no doubt come across plenty of willing vendors, there's a lot of them, who will happily sell you their one-of-a-kind system or indicator that offers a surefire path to riches, easy living, and perhaps even enlightenment itself, although I doubt the last part. You can go that route. In fact, we encourage you to do so. After you've lost enough money that it hurts, Trade Ideas will be here, ready for you to put in the real work required to make a success out of yourself. We provide the tools, you provide the elbow grease, and together we'll get this motor humming. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show you this is this relates to this slide. If you cannot handle $7.50 a day at the most premium price level, please do yourself and us a favor and don't subscribe. Okay, so
now that you've turned off a good portion of our audience, so let's start.
Let's do this. Brad, why don't you share your screen? I'm gonna minimize this and let's do it.
All righty then. So guys, I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to go over the software on a high level. We'll talk a little bit about the channel bar and some of the windows, but I kind of want to roll our sleeves up and do something that we haven't done in quite some time, and that's really kind of show our technology what it can do if you're a premium subscriber. And that is, I'm going to be showcasing the odds maker here. It's our backtesting tool, and it's really one of the major components of our AI. So I'm going to kind of show you the manual approach to how you can take a strategy and make it look better, optimize it, and then put it into your workflow. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this dock panel right here. And I'm going to bring in this window. And I just created this window a couple hours ago. This is just a standard deviation breakout. I'm going to show you guys what it is. It's a really simple strategy. There's just one alert. It's looking for two standard deviations of a breakout. That means 2 standard deviations more than a normal type of move. So it's really an extraordinary move up, more than normal. And I just have a couple filters in here. If you go to the summary tab, you can see the filters. Just looking at stocks between $5 and $25, where the average daily volume is at least 200,000 shares a day. Could be a lot more than that, but that's the minimum. And then where we've had at least 3 of these alerts today. So very, very simple strategy. And with a simple strategy like this, the first thing you need to do is determine, is this something that can work? Is this something that you can optimize? And probably before you do that, you need to figure out whether you're going to go long or short. So this right here is a stock breaking out. Let's go ahead and I'm right clicking here to bring up the menu. Let's run the back test here. And let's start off by going ahead and buying the stock. When we get an instance of the breakout, we're going to buy it and we're going to see how does that look. We're not going to trade the first 10 minutes of the day. Theoretically, that's going to give us time to get those 3 standard deviation triggers out of the way. before the third one fires. We're not going to trade the last 3 hours of the market, so I'm going to stop at 10 o'clock my time. Not going to initiate any new trades after that. I don't really. It's a short trade here. It's a mean reversion type of idea, or it's a breakout type of concept.
Right. Everyone should be aware, though, that those things are completely customizable. And of course, while you've already set this up, just I want to make sure that they can see you really can get very detailed into the back testing parameters.
Yeah, so this is an intraday 30 minutes, but you can define it as many minutes as you want, up to 390, a particular time of day, or you can go, like Dan was saying, multiple days. Maybe I want to look at it, 2 days at the market open or 2 days at the close. We're just going to do something really simple here. 30 minutes after the entry, we're going to exit the trade. I don't have any stops in here. I don't have any profit targets. So it's like a hanky in the wind. We want to see what's really happening. And we're going to test for 30 days. That's 30 trading days. And then we're going to start off going long. So let's do that. And it's going to run through all the different instances of the alerts. Anytime an alert's generated, it's going to go ahead and buy that. And this is what we get out of it. That downward chart is not very good. We're starting off with 50,000 at the end of this. Well, at the end of this 480 trades, which is the whole sample set over 30 days, we lost $15,000. So
terrible, Brad.
That's not good. But you have to kind of see what's bad before you know what's good, or vice versa. You have to see the inverse of it. So we're going to do it again. I'm just going to hit run again. I'm not going to make any changes other than this time we're going to sell it. So now after that initial run up where we get the alert, we're going to go ahead and short it. Everything else is the same. And again, it's going to go through that sample set, and it's going to say, if you went ahead and shorted every instance of an alert, how would you end up doing? So pretty good. I mean, marketably better just by changing the direction. And that's what I mean by the hanky in the wind. What's working now? Are buying new highs working now, or buying new lows working now? It's the same type of concept. So once you get it, yeah.
You and I make the professional sports analogies all the time, and this totally reminds me of the pro golfers, who pick up the grass and throw it in the air, right? You're trying to see, is it a tailwind or is it a headwind, or the direction?
Yeah, and so you don't need to know, is it a 10-mile-an-hour wind? I'm just looking to see, is it with me or against me? And that's how I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to start taking this strategy right here, and I'm going to go ahead and short it. And from there, what we do is we use this odds maker tool to really refine and to optimize the strategy. When I showed it to you, there were just very few filters, the basic filters up at the top. But we can use this optimization tab right here. And I'm not going to go through the entire process with you, but I'm going to kind of focus your attention here on this other filters tab. And this is where we have access to the entire inventory, including your custom filters, the entire inventory of filters that we have inside of Trade Ideas. And using the odds maker tool right here, it gives us kind of a mathematical peek into every one of those filters and how changing those filters would affect the outcome of your strategy.
Guys, Brad, I mean, I have to say that, you and I, we're used to this information, right? But the funny thing is that obviously we take for granted that we don't look at it all the time. And I just want to reiterate how much power you all have here, especially the people that often want to say, well, I need my indicator to do this or my indicator to do that. I mean, there is no other statistical analysis engine in all of FinTech that allows you to dial in the 2-minute RSI and see what's going on with it, or the 10-day range in this particular way. So remember, we aren't doing this. There's two paradigms to statistical analysis. Okay, and I want to make sure that you guys understand what we're talking about here, because it's a critical distinction. The first paradigm is what all of us grew up on and what you're probably used to, which is the Tradestation Paradigm, which is you pick up a stock like Netflix and you figure out which indicator works for it, okay? And then you create a system and you trade that system for Netflix. But we did it a totally different way. We created a scenario in the market, a price scenario, like for example, like Brad said, the standard deviation breakout of some type, and then we're trying to figure out what to do with it. But then we can pivot to figuring out which statistical data points are critical drivers to dial in the strategy. And that's what Brad's showing you. So we're kind of lifting the hood of the DeLorean, Lambo, McLaren, whatever you want to call it, and showing you the immense power that you all have if you wish to dig. This is the part where I would say a lot of people, you know, Brad, we did the FAQ, right? This is the difference between the FAQers and real investors, okay? Real investors are going to go through what Brad's doing here. The FAQers just want the magic, you know, golden egg.
But, you know, to that end, though, Dan, even if you didn't want to roll your sleeves up and really dive into this, this is kind of giving you a peek into how the AI works, really. And that's something that is really done for you. We do all of that curating of the strategies every night after the market close, and it uses this type of mechanism to optimize and make each strategy just a little bit better than it was the day before. So this right here, and so let me just point this out because this is the logic involved here. This drop down, the very first one is a 10-day range. So when I pull that in, it really gives me all these different thresholds. And the concept here is that if the 10-day range, the range between the low and the high of those 10 days is greater than $18, I'm not doing very well. Now, granted, there are only 3 trades here, but this is the concept that I want you to get used to. By looking at this, you can just very, very easily see with the gradient colors that when you have a 10-day range greater than $15, I'm not being that successful on it. And remember, the price that we're looking at is between $5 and what is it, $25? So 5 and 25. So if you've got a range of $20, that's a huge range that happened in a relatively short period of time within the last 10 days. So using this tool right here, if I wanted to, I could just right click at this level right here because I see that's a break point between good stuff and bad stuff. I can right click here and I can set the max value of the 10-day range to $14.99. Just by selecting that option, it's going to go to that alert window. It's going to open up the configuration screen and it's going to drop that value in the appropriate filter. And then I could just hit OK. So I'll just do this a couple times so you can see the concept, and then I'll show you the window that I put together. It's got a few more filters, probably has about 10 more filters than we're looking at here. But let's just kind of go down through the list. Again, this right here, if I've got a 10-day range greater than 120, greater than 100%, it's not working for me. So you can get rid of that. Same technique, right click, set the max value and do that. If that filter is applicable to the concept that you're really trying to create. And you can do this, you know, I use the down arrow. Once you select that, you can just hit the down arrow and it's going to go through to the next filter. You know, here's an interesting one, the 15-minute RSI. Well, maybe I want the 15-minute RSI to be above 65 here, not doing so well below that 65 value. So maybe that's something that I want to look at. And again, I just will continue down through the different filters and make these determinations as to, you know, what I want to do right here. It's got, I'll just explain a few things that we're looking at here. We've got the profit factor. So on this 2-minute range, when the range is between 0 and 19 cents, the profit factor is the sum total of all the winning trades over the sum total of all the losing trades. So if it's under $1, that's not necessarily very good. And that's why it's red. The win percentage, just strictly, you know, how many won, how many lost. Then the average based upon, you know, the number of trades that took place here. So 326 trades took place in this bucket right here, 67% of the total. Now, maybe I don't want to look at a 20-cent interval. Maybe I want to look at a 10-cent interval. So I can change that. Now it's going to break it down into 10-cent intervals, and I can, again, make that determination. Maybe this is my break point, maybe it's not. But this is the process you go through, and you can just continue on down through. So look, the 20-day range is very similar to the 10-day range, and you go through it. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in another window that I put together. Hopefully I can find it here. So I used the same base strategy, and then I went through this process right here on the odds maker. Let's go ahead into configure and take a look at what I did. So I've added some more filters to it. You can go right to the Windows specific filter. There are a couple ways to see exactly what's configured. I'll hide unused. And it's not important to get into each one of these different values that I put into it or these different filters that I added. But suffice it to say, I use the odds maker, the optimization tab to go through and put some additional filters on this strategy that I created. And so once you do that, I've got this new one right here. I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to go ahead and back test it. And again, I'm going to sell it. Same parameters that we had before. I didn't really do anything different here. And we'll sell it. So I believe I still have my old one, and I want to kind of put them side by side here. So this is the original on the left. And we're just going to go through a couple metrics. The profit factor was 1.55. We had 480 trades, and that's in that 30 trading day period. So that's a lot of trades in few amount of days. So it's probably an unrealistic strategy to try to trade. But remember, this was our hanky in the wind, our grass that we're throwing up on the course. And so let's go through a couple more metrics. 480, the average winner to average loser. These are, I like to see a 2 times average winner to average loser in general. The return of that, and you know, it's a pretty good return. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. My hypothesis here was that I was trading $5,000 worth of every stock. We could change that to, if I wanted to trade 100 shares of each one of these trades, I could do that. So you can adjust that here, and by adjusting this value, it'll adjust your equity curve over here on the right. And you can define your commission. So it looks like I've got $1 a trade plus a penny a share in here. So that's the original. Now, as we went through and we modified it here, I added some filters, and it did a few things. It made my profit factor a 5-to-1 ratio, which is much better than this 1.5. The number of trades, it dropped down to 144 trades over that 30-day period. That then becomes something that you could execute, something that you could put into a plan. The average winner to loser, it's still not where I'd like to see it, but it's okay because my win rate is so good here. This doesn't need to be as strong. So it's like a push-pull type of mechanism with a variety of different levers here. Not only one of them matters, it's really the combination of them all. It tells me the buying power required to implement this strategy was only 30,000. Over here, it was 70,000. I was in more positions at the same time. And then we've got this calendar heat map down here, which allows you to drill down into any of the days. This happens to be yesterday right here. And you can see the trades that occurred, your entry price, your exit price, the number of shares based on that $5,000, and your profit on each one of those trades. So that calendar, it goes back to, well, in this case, it's going to go back 30 trading days, and you can see that. And then as you hover over one of those calendar days, it's going to give you that, you know, that gray indication over here.
Brad, I mean, whenever I look at that, I still reiterate to everyone that nobody has duplicated this technology, and it's been around for probably 12, 15 years.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, nobody's even done anything like it. But like I alluded to earlier, this is really some of the technology that the AI uses. And as we continue through the presentation, Dan's going to show you the AI, how it did today, and the important thing to know about how this odds maker functionality works at the end of every single trading day. So we have about 50 different strategies in our inventory. And at the end of every trading day, it goes through every one of those strategies, and it does this in a computer fashion. It doesn't have an interface like that, but essentially it goes through every one of our filters that we have in each strategy. And it says, how can I make this better? If I change this value, would it improve the odds of that particular strategy? And of course, it uses the next day's data, or today's data in this case, to add that to the previous day and really just refine the strategies.
Brad, do me a favor real quick. Habib was asking a question, and again, you know, since we have people here who are not specifically subscribers, open up just like a standard alert window and show people how like you start from complete scratch where you have an alert window of whatever, you know, but do one for a 20-day moving average. And by the way, Brad will put these into the chat so that everybody can have this strategy. We share
I'll do that. After I pass it back to you, I'll drop that in the chat.
Right.
So right here, from the new item in our toolbar, we've got all these different windows that you can open up. Dan's talking about the alert window. This is our event-based window. It starts off with something here. I don't know if this is, everybody's going to have this same strategy or whether I created this one as my own personal default, but you're going to have a strategy here. And if you want to start from scratch, you can just double click the start from scratch. It'll erase the alert, erase the filters, so that you're essentially starting with a blank canvas. And Dan was looking for what, a moving average?
Let's do a moving average, and we could, this way you're showing the search feature, and let's do a 200, because again, people are used to that.
All right, so we'll cross above the 200-day moving average, and we'll just add that alert. So right here, I'm just going to select it. It added it to my alerts tab, but it's incumbent upon me to decide which alerts I want to look at. I could always hide the unused so that I only have the one that I selected.
Now let's put some filters in there.
Pardon me?
Let's put some filters in there so that people can get just like a simple gist. And here on the filters, remember, we're talking about event-based testing. So we're looking at right now, the way Brad has it, we are looking at every 200-day moving average cross. So we're going to make it a little bit more narrow by saying, for example, we want to see that 200-day moving average, Brad, when the stock is trading 3 times normal.
All right, so 3 times normal, that would be our relative volume filter right here. If you're not sure exactly what any of these filters do, you can always hit this magnifying glass. Oh, I'm sorry, not there.
Well, yeah, I just have to put something in there.
I'm sorry, it was on search. So if you don't know what any of the filters do, you can just come over here, and if you typed in volume, for instance, it's going to give you all the different volume filters. If you selected relative volume, you can then hit help, and it's going to go ahead and launch in a browser window, you know, the specific filter that you clicked on, and you can read the definition and see if that's what you want. Essentially, that's what Dan's talking about. Relative volume's taking a look at the current volume right now and comparing it to normal at this time of day. It uses the ratio value. So would you say three times normal?
Right, and I'm saying 3 just because what we want to say is that when the 200-day moving average crosses, we want something unusual going on. And that's just a high-level way to say, hey, at the time of the 200-day moving average cross, something unusual is going on. But Brad, let's add a 10-day volume minimum of at least 1 million shares. This way, again, people can see that you can put in the numbers that you like. You know,
so I can put in 1 million, or I could type in 1M. That should do it as well.
Brad, when did that happen?
It was a year or 2 years ago.
I need to take a class. Barry hadn't taught me this yet.
I hope it does.
Barry, did you know this?
All right, what else do you want to see on the strategy?
And then let's put in a price filter, because again, you know, this is where you're trying to differentiate. And let's say between 10 and 100. Just for talking.
It's really that simple. And if you don't see what you want here, like the way it works normally is this is unused and you're only looking at the filters that you want. You could add some defaults. We have like 10 different standard filters that you would want, but essentially you do everything from the search tab right here. So if you're looking for, you know, a particular filter, you would just type it in here and find it and then just add it.
Well, you know what, Brad, you're making me think about something, you know, because everybody likes technical indicators. How about you search for RSI?
Relative Strength Index.
Right, and maybe put in a daily RSI above 60 so that this way it looks like it's strong. And what we're going to do here, guys, is we're just postulating based on what we kind of know as things in technical analysis that you might have heard from people, you know, strong RSI, high volume, and 200-day moving average. But what we're going to find out is, as Brad just showed you in the other strategy, is this working now? So let's call this crossing, yep.
And let's hit OK. So now we've got our window. And we can also add columns to it, right? So we've created the guts of it. We've created the inside of it. You know, what?
Not too noisy, by the way, since nothing's showing up.
Yeah. So for something like this, I would probably, you know, crossing that 200-day is a rare instance. I would probably take some of these filters out. So I'm going to do that right here, at least this one. And I'll probably also just take this million. I'm going to drop it down to 200,000.
Okay.
Let's make it a little bit more accessible. Maybe even in this case, even 2 times volume is pretty significant. All right, so at least we have something there, right? But what I was going to show you, maybe one last thing here. Let's say you want to bring in a couple columns that you're interested in. So in this case, we'll go to the search tab. I'm going to type in volume. I want to know what today's volume is. So volume today. let's go ahead and show that column. I'm also going to come back here and I'm going to type in change from the close. And change from the close, the percent is the one that I typically use, so I'm going to show that column.
Brad,
So now
by the
I've
way,
kind of modified the outside of the window.
Brad, do me a favor. Go back and write change real quick, because you just showed me again one of these nuanced things that a lot of people don't know that we have. So for example, when you're making a strategy, look at what comes up there at the top, Brad. NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow. So that means that you can design a strategy, if you want to, that's going in the direction of the indices. So that's why those filters are there. So you can, for example, say, if you wanted to, NASDAQ up 0.01%, so at least it's positive, or S&P or the Dow. And I'm just giving you guys examples of thinking a little bit broader, you know, as you're doing this.
Before we add a filter like that, let's just go ahead and show the column. So now we can have we're not going to be filtering on it, but it at least let us know what that value is, and maybe we do want to filter on it. I don't know. So we're adding that for the purpose of making our analysis here. All right, so now I've added all these different things. You can arrange them the way that you want to arrange. I usually have volume over here, so that looks good. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and run, do we want to run a history or do we want to run a back test? What do you want to do?
Let's run a back test. Let's just see what happens. But this time, Brad, what we're going to do is we're not going to run a day trade back test. We're going to run, because this is a 200-day SMA, we're going to do a swing trade back test. And again, I'm just showing you that this is a different tactic than what Brad demonstrated earlier. And this is how you do it. So let's do it for like a week. Yeah, that's a good one. 7 days.
Well, a week is 5 days, right? 5 trading days.
Right. My bad.
Okay, so let's do that. You can come into the risk management, and here you could say, boy, if I'm down $1 on any one of these, get me out. You know, these are, you don't have to. And you can also set up a profit target. If you're up $1, up $2, you can go ahead and exit the position as well. In this case, because we're doing a swing trade and we're holding it for multiple days, I would prefer to add more days to my test here.
100%.
It's going to give me some more inventory to work with.
100%.
And so let's start off buying it, right? So this is crossing above the 200-day from below. And let's go ahead and buy it and see what happens. It's like a dice roll.
Roll. But the important thing to showcase here, Brad, is that first of all, a lot of the standard notions of technical analysis are not statistically viable, meaning that, for example, the certainty of a 200-day or a 20-day or a 50-day moving average break are not really the things that you may have been told that they are. And that isn't to say that they can't be useful. And Brad, you can like go, for example, and show the optimization tab. And once again, just, you know, talk about how, well, you know, maybe there's a different tactic that we could do. Like, for example, we could do a price point of, you know, 30 to 60, let's say, or 70 rather. Because that's where and again, I'm just being very, very high level.
I would only caution. Well, no, I mean, we're within a realm of being able to optimize it. Yeah. I thought we would have like 3,000 trades or something, but we're still within a realm of optimizing it here.
But this is how it's done. And what I'm trying to say is that part of what we do at Trade Ideas is we break the veil of the standard. You are unfortunately taught to think that things like stochastics or relative strength or a moving average convergence divergence, which is MACD, or really any kind of indicator is an indicator. It's a strange name because the truth of it is indicators are simply, they should be called data points. I don't think, Brad, statistically speaking, I do not believe they indicate anything.
They're, yeah, not definitive anyway.
No, but you've been kind of dealt a sleight of hand by the mainstream financial media and the analysts, and they steer you towards this chasing your own tail. And what we're doing here is we're breaking that veil. We're opening your mind, unveiling, as it is, a new type of analysis where you can dig into this stuff and realize, well, you know what? maybe this stuff isn't what I thought it was. But again, showing you the processes that you can go through to start with just an idea, but then dovetail it into an actual strategy.
Yeah, I think that's the real takeaway is that you had a concept that you just thought of, right? We hadn't done anything with it. And we took that concept and we created a window that's going to generate alerts. And then we could see if we could kind of be systematic about it, where anytime an alert's generated, we could perform the same action and hopefully be profitable. Not in this particular case here, but that's the mindset of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
Could be a good segue into the channel bar and the AI. And why don't I throw it back to you and we can.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Sir Francis, coming your way.
Okay. Hold on a minute here. It is I, Sir Francis.
She's a beauty.
She's a beauty. Okay, so we showed you kind of like under the hood. Now let's take a look at the beauty of the McLaren. Okay, so we have trade ideas, and trade ideas is not just, you know, your technical analysis package. It's really quite the powerful media, financial media product. We have this channel bar. And by the way, this channel bar is so powerful, you can make your own channels. Like here, I've got one called Big Monitor, Hold On for Dear Life. Again, I'm not going to click them because that's not the screen that I want to show you in the presentation. But the idea is that these are customizable. Okay, so you can be your own director. You can create your own media. Okay, but here's a bunch of channels, and of course you have access to your cloud. We just added a recent channel right here. I'm going to go to that. It's called the Vax Mandators. So these are all the companies that are mandating vaccines for their employees. We thought it would be a funny take on the name. We're not big fans of that, but you know, humor is an important part of trading. You got to have a little bit of humor in there. So here's a channel that's showing you what are all the companies that are mandating the vaccine for their employees. How are they doing? So you can kind of be aware. A lot of them are trading very strongly. So again, this isn't a negative or a positive on the trade, just a way to itemize the data into different groups. Okay, of course, we still have the Wall Street bet stocks. And as you guys probably know, even though Wall Street bets isn't as exciting as it once was, it's still very, very happening. In fact, let's see here.
I think it's pretty exciting.
Well, it is. Like, well, let's just talk. I mean, what I want to do is real quick is I'm going to go here to our charts, and I'm going to go set a time frame, and I'm going to go monthly for GameStop. Okay. Am I on GameStop or no?
Yeah,
right. Here I am. Monthly on GameStop. So lots of signals here. Let me go to properties, and you can remove those where it says show AI trades. Boom, they're gone. So look, here's GameStop when the hedge funds were trying to kill it. You know, it was at 59. Then Steve Cohen got short with his buddy Melvin and told Citadel to get short. Then Robinhood got short. And then they really got excited and the gamers figured out what was going on and boom, it goes to 487. Ta-da! But then of course these guys doubled down again and they brought it all the way down to 36, which is where I started buying it. And here we are back at 203 on the way to $1 million. Okay.
On the way.
You know, but so what I'm saying is incredible volatility and GameStop's totally still in play. And the point is that there's a channel for it called, here's most talked about on Wall Street bets. And again, you can go by percentage points. And Brad, we should have a price point here. And by the way, if you wanted to, let's make sure that we add the change from the close number, not just percentage.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah. But here you can see like some of these things just IronNet. That's a security company. They were going crazy. Okay. By the way, Brad, my cousin works for IronNet. Mark, you've met him before.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, Irene's son. So these channels are a way for you to see what's going on without having to configure anything. Do you want to know what Barry's up to? There's a channel for that. This is Barry's watch list up.
And this
Barry's
literally
watch
is
list.
what Barry's up to, because he puts this list together before the market open every day, usually the night before, but also in the morning. So this is really what he's starting off the market looking at. Certainly he can adjust through the day, but this is a great watch list.
Yep. And as we are the producers, we typically try to stay relevant to what is going on. So here's SPACs, they're still in play. Even though they might not be as talked about, there's still lots of stuff going on. Social sentiment, I don't know, I forgot what we're using for this, Brad, but certainly probably relative volume, right?
This is actually a curated list from the Buzz stocks. It's another social group, but it's another curated list.
Okay. So again, you can see what's being talked about.
Higher market cap stocks.
Right. One of the ones I love is this channel right here. Everybody talks about this channel because this channel tells you when the earnings are happening. Earnings is a simple concept that everybody likes to discuss. And here you have up after hours, after earnings, down after earnings. Trade Ideas earnings watcher, like, during the day, what's going on. So everything is dialed in. In fact, again, this channel bar is your go-to to start. Okay, one of my favorite channels is stocks like this, and I've talked about how I'm constantly adding to this list, okay, as I'm going through webinars and showing you guys how we do it. It's a simple process of just going click and hearting it like you would on any social media, okay? And here you can see my stream of things that are moving post-market, Microsoft.
This is actually a good spot to kind of show the difference between these two different windows. We've got this alert window that we were optimizing earlier. It's that event-based window. And then you've got that list over on the right, which is what we call a top list, but equally as powerful in just a different type of visualization way.
Absolutely. As Bill Gates is trying to vaccinize you and euthanize you at the same time, doesn't prevent Microsoft from running, Brad. Seems to be just going and going and going. Hey, everybody, get a little shot and get your Microsoft on. Riot blockchain. So again, this is, and what's really cool about this channel is that Stocks I Like becomes a customized fingerprint to you if you use the technology. So if you're going around and you're seeing different things, like for example, if I go to Alpha Predator, okay, and I look at, let's say, and I go to let's look at GMVD, G Medical Innovations, and it's not on my watch list yet. I click on it. Then when I come back over here, it will now be on this list. Okay, and I can sort it. A, B, C, E, D, E, F, G, somewhere in here. Probably on the next refresh. But that's how it works. Okay, so this is your fingerprint to the stock world. Very simple to get things going. Explosive winners, of course. Everybody likes this because it's easy, and we break it down for you. These are your biggest winners today, this week, this year, and of course the watcher of all the winners. And of course the counterpart is stuff that's going down. Same concept. If you like it, oops.
Do a right click on that losers watcher window so you can see the number of different strategies that exist in that window.
This one,
right there. Yeah. So the difference here between an alert window and the multi-strategy, this guy here has all of, you don't need to edit it, but it has all of these different individual strategies, really individual alert windows, all combined into this one window. So it really allows you to save tremendous real estate when you use it.
Right, and see this M stands for multi-strategy. So it's a window that allows you to combine many alert windows together. Ladies and gentlemen, immensely powerful technology here, immensely powerful, okay? And again, all topics, biotechs. So you got the biotechs watcher right here. You can see what's going on. Scroll down, you got penny movers, energy, unusual options, unusual volume. What about after hours? What if you just want to watch a movie? Takes you right to our Trade Ideas educational channel right here. So it is a tech that is very easy to use, and again, no configuration. And when you see something you like, just fingerprint it and it will follow you. So that's going to lead me to the final part of today's presentation. Okay, let me scroll over here and click on the Trade Ideas AI. This is our flagship product, part of the premium software. And this product is something that automates what Brad showcased earlier in terms of configuring and setting up a strategy. All of this is being done for you. And today, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 trades. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of them were profitable, but the short here on BLI was very profitable. So it's from 29 to 26. And again, we're playing the statistical play here. So this is how this works. In case you're wondering why the conservative profit was $793 on the tools and options, we have AI trade size, and I have a size of dollars per trade at $7,700. You can set this up to whatever you want. Apply. And now it just changes a little bit, depending on what it is that you want. Aaron, I'm not sure what you meant by buy signal on IronNet. I mean, we don't know if it's a buy signal per se. You can just tell that something is moving. That's all. So for example, it's here. But it was moving the day before as well, and moved all day today and just moved a lot after hours. Right, so again, we don't call it a buy signal. That goes back to our first FAQ. You would have had to have been looking for something like that, but certainly you saw that this was on the move. But this technology right here is your trading coach. It's your mentor. It's showing you stuff that's going on. And the best part is it has a history. And you can see what happened yesterday. Okay, so for example, SPRT. Okay, then what happened yesterday? There was a sell at 1604, and I don't know what happened at 11, but Brad, that looks like a pretty good sell.
That was a great trade, and this stock actually changed symbols today, GREE, I believe. But yeah, that was a great trade yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but okay. And again, so you can kind of see here's an HLF short, entry price 46.42 yesterday, and here we are today at 42.33. And again, you can see what the trade yesterday did. So the idea is that know that these are not necessarily just day trades. These can be your swing trades, and they have that potential. And again, not every trade is going to be a winner. This is again from yesterday. Okay, and FSL, which was a long yesterday right here, kind of had a big pullback. But you can see what it was trying to do. And one of the things then you do then is this, you hard it, and then you set an alert close to, let's call it above this level, and this is kind of my 1-2. And I call it approaching AI entry. So this is the price alert field. And once you do that, I'm no longer going to miss this trade. Okay, do you guys see how that was done? This is the 1-2 punch, critical to use historical AI data. Okay, and of course, move it back to real time, and you can see how all the different modes perform. Aggressive, moderate, and conservative all did well today. And there is no other system in the stock market that is going to do what the AI does for you, which just gives you signals and allow you to trade it. There is nothing like it. This is what you use trade ideas for. All right, guys, so as we wrap up, let me just finish up here real quick. Our education is a key component to what we do. Brad and I showcase some of that today, but of course we have daily support sessions with continuing education for everyone. And all you have to do is go to trade-ideas.com/live to sign up, okay? Barry, who is the moderator of our trading room, is always available for help with a room full of very nice gentlemen and ladies who trade all the time and are helping one another out. It's a meritocracy of good investors. And for anybody who's looking to take a look, maybe dip their toes, we highly suggest you go to trade-ideas.com/trading room. We're very easy to get a hold of. Please, although Brad and I have been banned from all social media, we still have some people that are there, and this is their IDs. Please like us on all the other books and grams and chats and snaps.
Keep talking while I put this cloud link in, Dan. I forgot to do it, so don't close this webinar just yet.
I'm not. You know, you'll do that. I don't do the closing, Brad. So we're very easy to get a hold of, and the best way, again, our support staff is always available. We have, in fact, we have a wonderful lady who's in South Africa, and she is very good at the evening hours of support. So shoot us an email at info@trade-ideas.com, and we will quickly respond with all the appropriate support information. Lance, again, if you just shoot an email, you'll quickly get an answer from somebody who will detail exactly what you need to do. And by the way, take a look at our FAQ and our 20 videos on how to do that. It's super easy to get started. Okay, Brad, are you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, I put it in the chat so you guys can all copy it now before we close the webinar.
Okay, well, we thank you guys. We appreciate your time. Brad and I are grateful to be able to share our Trade Ideas experience with you and hopefully make your experience with our software better. Please take care, and we will see you a week after next. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Dan. Bye, everybody.
Bye.